Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 6th of August. It is 9 o'clock, so a little bit earlier than normal, but I have other engagement. I have a technical analysis webinar at 1 p.m. Copenhagen time or European time or Central Standard Time, whatever. It's at 1 p.m. Please find it and log in, and I will also talk about the market in that webinar. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes, more digging deep into some of the market reactions, and you can also ask questions. All right, let's move on. We have a rebound day in across the world. We have a Nikkei bouncing strongly after the bouncing from 30,390. This is the Nikkei future, and it's bounced almost 50% of this massive sell-off we have seen early Monday and late last week. We could bounce up to around 36,000, the 61.8 retracement. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that the coming days, but we are still in a bearish mode. On the US market, we had S&P 500 closing 3% lower. It actually closed below the 5,191 support, just above 5,100. We are in a negative sentiment, likely to push lower in the coming days, but we are up about 0.5% pre-market here this morning, so we can see that we are a little bit bouncing back further, but not that much. Let's see, we can see here the US 500 CFD/future bounce, well, it actually spiked below the support there, but closed back above, and now we are trading just above 5,119. So let's see where we end today. But we are still in a bearish trend, and we could, after a bounce, the market could be under pressure. Here we have also the US Nasdaq 100 CFD/ the future that spiked much lower, but closed above 17,787. And here we have the cash index, the actual index that closed above 7,808. So a very strong rebound towards the end of the session. We could bounce further, but we are in a bearish trend, as you can see here now. Also, if we look at the weekly chart very quickly, we can see that 16,969, that is the key support, also on the medium term. I don't think it will be tested just yet, but we are in a downtrend, just to emphasize that also here, especially on the short term. But I think we will trade around the 18,000 and 18,500 here the next couple of days. In the European market, we are also bouncing a little bit pre-market. It is indicating 0.5% up. Here we have EUROSTOXX 50 that closed above 4,544, key support. But we, as you can see, we are in a downtrend, and we are set to open around 4,600. So just around these levels here, but we have a gap to close, and we also need to get back above 4,675 to get any meaningful, not uptrend, but possible for further bounce towards the 200 moving average. But we are in a bearish trend, but I think we'll have a couple of days with a little bit of rebound mode. We have DAX that closed above 17,326, but it actually spiked to close this gap area here, but it didn't manage to close below, so we still have a little bit of a lifeline that we could bounce a little bit higher here in the coming days. The market is indicated to open around 17,425, so just around the 200 moving average here. If it can get back about 17,620, well, then it could maybe get a little bit tailwind higher. The Amsterdam index that really hit hard also, especially due to ASML, closed back above 858, which is fairly strong proof that there is some buyers out there. If it can close this gap here, meaning it has to close above 879, then it maybe could get a little bit further upside. It is indicated to open at 865, so let's see if it can do that. But we have some strong resistance just below 900 right there. The CAC 40 CAC 40 that got hammered almost down to 17,000. It is indicated to open at 17,115. So just around this resistance level here. Can it also close the gap? Then there could be further bouncing in the coming days. But if it takes out yesterday's lows, well, then we are looking at 69.50, possibly lower. And finally, the Swiss market. That really bad day also actually spiked all the way down to the 200 moving average, close below 11,595, and it is currently set to trade just, you can see here what is indicated to trade at the moment. It is around 11,556. It really needs to get back above 11,770 just to get a little bit of tailwind. That will be a hard nut to crack that gap there. If it takes out yesterday's low, well, then there's more selling pressure towards 11,000. On the FX market, we saw euro dollar spiking higher towards 110. The 138.2 projection of this correction here, but it closed below, so that is interesting. I think we will see it sliding back lower a little bit in the next couple of days. I will actually remove this one and add a new one, saying, okay, where could we correct down to? We could possibly correct down to around. We are almost close to the 38.2 retracement. I think we could correct down to 108.65, which is 61.8 retracement, before maybe it will have another go. Euro sterling, if my chart will update, there we are. Spiked higher above the 86.10, but failed towards the end. I think we will see a correction lower to around 85.35, maybe a little bit lower, and then we'll probably have another go later at the 86.10 resistance. Cable, still 127, that is key support, so no news there. It really needs to take out 128.40 for any potential uptrend to 129, or it needs to take out 127 to the downside, and then we're looking at 126. Dollar yen, a strong bounce also in the yen pairs, and it could over the next couple of days bounce higher towards the 38.2 retracement. That's across the board for all yen pairs. 149.40. I'm not quite sure it will do that, but we could see that after closing above 142.85. Didn't get all the way down to this strong support area here around 140, 80, 140 and a quarter. So I think we'll see some bouncing here the next couple of days. It will be lifted. We have a euro yen also bouncing higher, could bounce up to 162.44, which is also the 38.2, and again that is more or less the same picture with all the yen pairs. We can see it bounced from the 155 support, and we have also yen that really got hammered down to just above 90 and a quarter. Very strong ending last night, and it is continuing this morning. Could bounce further up to around 97 and a half here over the next few days, and then maybe we could see it will slide back lower. Sterling yen also same picture really. Same picture really, could bounce up to 190.80, which is the 38.2 retracement. It has to be said with all these yen pairs that if it takes out today's lows, I think we could see another selling pressure coming back. So please be aware of that. But that would at least be my stop if I went long. It's not a recommendation. It's just to give you an example of where I would put my stuff if I went long on these yen pairs. Aussie dollar spiked to touch the 63.50 and but closed back above 64.70, and I think maybe we could see further bounce in the coming days. Here are up maybe up to 61 retracement at 66 and a quarter. It will be a struggle. There is some overhead resistance in the 55 moving average coming down, and the 200 and the 100 moving average also kind of putting a lid on it. So it'll be a little bit of a struggle to get up there. If it moves back below 64.70, I think we'll see another pressure selling lower. We had the dollar Canada that spiked to 139.50 around that level, almost there, and now is the 137.85 support we should look out for once again. If it takes out that, well, then I think we'll see a sell-off down to 137. Otherwise, if it can stay above, then there is a little bit of range-bound trading here next 2 days, I believe. EURSWIS, also very strong bounce after massive sell-off yesterday. Could bounce up to the 38.2 retracement and 94.25. Possibly a little bit higher. There should be some strength up to around 95 maybe. But it is under pressure, to be honest. If it takes out 93 again, then we could see another selling pressure lower. Dollar Swiss. Also strong bounce, obviously, of the 84.30 support. That's not correct. It was just above that. That was misplaced. So there was no support. Sorry about that. Very strong bounce. We could see it bouncing in a couple of days up to 86.70. But if it takes out the lows today, well, then maybe bears are coming back in trying to push it lower. And finally, the dollar index. Dollar index that spiked below 102.30. Could, well, almost bounced 38.2 at 102.96. If it takes out yesterday's peak there, well, I think we will see a push up to around 103.5, 103.57. If it takes out the 102.30 once again, then I think we'll see it down to around 101.60. Moving on to the commodities and gold. Let's zoom in a little bit. That failed to take out the all-time high and then got hammered a little bit yesterday, but it did hold above the key support at 23.53, and that is key. We have the 55 moving average giving some support. We also have the 100 coming up, so I think we will see gold trying to slowly crawl higher in the coming days, and if it moves back above 24.35, then I think we'll see another push towards previous peak. Whether we'll take it out at this time around or not is hard to say. Silver, massive sell-off yesterday, pushing it back below, all the way below 27.40, sorry. Could slide lower to 26, where there's some really strong support, as you can see here. That's where the whole upturn started there, and we have the 200 moving average coming up. So there's a downside pressure. We also have a negative sentiment on the RSI. On the copper front, it spiked below 400, and it's still below 400. It spiked below 900 and 396.75. In this consolidation area here, but did close above, so that would be key. Can it close above or not? I think we will see it trying to push higher towards 413 again, and the 200 moving average. But if it takes out yesterday's low at 393, well, then we're looking at 383. On the energy side, we have crude oil, WTI, that spiked lower yesterday, so it's still closed above 72.40, so that's fairly strong, and I think we could see a little bit of bounce in the coming days, but this is the key level. It shouldn't close below. If it does, well, then we're looking at 70 and possibly lower. Brent crude oil also spiked below the 76 support, now testing the minor one here at 76.85. So we are in a downtrend, could push lower, but again, if it can hold above these levels here to close above, well, then we could see a little bit of bounce towards $80. And finally, on the US 10-year Treasury yield, that spiked lower to almost just above the 363 level. And it's bouncing strongly, and I think we could see a further bounce to around 390, possibly a little bit higher to 397, but 390 should be possible. If it takes out the lows today, well, then we will see another pressure towards 360. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.